Hello and welcome. This is Jennifer McGuire. I need to go ahead and apologize right now. I'm under the weather, so my voice is a little bit off, but I wanted to go ahead and bring you this video. Now, this card doesn't show any outlandish fun technique, but rather just a really fun card using some fun products. And this is what it is. I call it a surprise card. This is how the card comes out of the envelope with this little tie on it. And when you untie it, it opens up, this diagonal window opens up, and you can have anything you want on the inside. So these are new products from Ellen Hudson and Julie Ebersole, and I think they are so much fun, so I really wanted to bring you this video. So here is the die that I used to create this card. Again, this is from Ellen Hudson and Julie Ebersole, and I'll link to where I got it in the YouTube description below and over on my blog. It's really handy because it does all the work for you. Now, I cut a piece of white paper a little bit bigger than the opening that will result when we do this die cut. We'll come back to that die a little bit later. Now I need to create what's going to go on the inside of the card first, so I'm using this new set, which is also from Ellen and Julie, and I love the messages and especially this hippo. I think he's so much fun. I'm stamping on white Neenah cardstock because I want to use Copic markers today, and I'm using black hybrid ink from My Favorite Things. This is my favorite for using with Copics. Now you'll see I am strategically inking up this hippo so that I don't get ink on the top of his head because I want to put a hat on him. You could use a piece of masking tape and mask off that area, but it was pretty easy just to ink up all of the hippo except for the top of his head. So you can see that the top is open so that I can put a hat on in a moment. So here's the little hat. This is also in that same stamp set, which by the way, all of these images are in that same stamp set that I showed you earlier. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this also. Now the nice thing about the design I'm doing here is you could use any coloring method that you are comfortable with. You could use colored pencils, watercolor, anything you want. I'm using Copics because I want to do this really quick, and it's the method that seems to be fastest for me. Now that I have my hippo and my bird stamped, I want to add balloons, but I want to make sure that I stamp the balloons so that they're positioned that I can draw a string to connect them to certain parts of the hippo and the bird. So I found it was best to use a pencil and a T-roller to draw where my lines will be so I know where to stamp the balloons. So I drew a pencil line to the bird's wing because I want the bird to hold one of the balloons. And I'm also drawing a pencil line to one of the hippo's ears and then also to the hippo's tail. Now this T-roller that I'm using here, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I use these a lot. It's the most inexpensive, useful tool that I have. I use it quite often. And they're only a few bucks, so I highly recommend this tool if you don't have it. So now that I have my pencil lines for the balloon strings, I'm going to go ahead and start stamping my balloons. I'm just going to make sure that they line up with those pencil lines. Once I have all three of the balloons stamped, I can then go in and draw the strings to connect the animals to the balloons. And I just use a black Copic multi-liner for that. That's my favorite black fine tip pen. And also I don't have to worry about it bleeding if I get any marker on it because it is meant for working with Copics. But this is the black pen that I reach for all of my stamping needs. And I just cannot get over how cute these little images are. Julie did a great job with these. Okay, so now that we have our little scene created here, I'm going to go ahead while I have all my stamping stuff out and stamp the greeting. I actually have two different greetings that I'm going to put together into one here on the card. These are both from that same stamp set, but I only have a little room there on the right. So I'm actually cutting up my greetings. This doesn't hurt the stamps. They don't scream and cry, I promise, I promise. And you can always mount them how they were originally intended as one long greeting. But this really gives me more use of them because I can kind of arrange the words how I want to and fit it into this tight space. So I'm just starting at the top, and I'm not taking care to line them up perfectly. I want this to kind of look playful, and that will also save me a lot of time. I just thought these images were so cute that it would be fun to put both of the sentiments together. So it says, "A little birdie told me, hippo birdie to you." I just thought that was fun and playful. Okay, so now it's time to do some coloring. As I mentioned, I'm just doing this quick and dirty. So I am picking Copic markers because that's what's fastest for me. I first colored my hippo completely solid with T3, which is just like a medium gray color. And then I'm coming in and adding to the darker areas with T5. Now, I'm not taking any care to really think about where the shadows go or where the coloring's just right. I'm just adding the look of dimension very quickly with the Copics. So once I added the darker color, I'm going back with the medium color, that same T3, and blending that out. I'm going to share a few quick tips with you here. One thing I do when I am coloring an image like this, I always end with coming in with the darkest, just in the darkest areas, like right here by his ears and such. I just do a little bit in those darkest areas and I finish off with that, and it really makes a big difference. Now for the bird, I use BG11 and BG13, not adding a whole lot of color there, just a little bit. Then for the balloons, here's another trick for you. So I went and I put R24 down first, and then I did R27 on top. And I wanted to have like a highlighted area like this. The light was hitting right there where I left it undone, but I didn't leave enough. And you can see I just ended up making it solid red. Here's the trick. Just go in with your colorless blender and kind of do a scribbly circle where you want it to be bright. And that will kind of bleach that area and pull away some of the color. So instead of spending a ton of time making the highlighting just right on those balloons, just color them solid, then come in with a colorless blender to add like a highlight to it by just scribbling away on it. I'm also going to do this on the back of the hippo and on his nose just to kind of add a highlight there too. So if you're in a hurry, just grab that colorless blender and kind of add a little bit of highlighting. It won't be perfect, but that's okay. I don't think anybody will ever notice. And then I'm finishing off the party hat with some blue color. One thing to note is that sometimes when you go in with a colorless blender and then you stop and you let it dry a little bit, the color kind of comes back a little. So what you may want to do is go back again with the colorless blender just to intensify it, which you see me doing here. So that's my super quick coloring with Copic markers. I just wanted to show you that just because you're using Copic markers doesn't mean that you have to really put a lot of thought and time into it. You can just use it for some quick coloring. Okay, so now for the surprise card part of this. This is the die from Ellen Hudson that I'm using, and I'm cutting it from some My Favorite Things Wild Cherry cardstock, which is one of my favorites. Now this die doesn't actually cut through the center because of something about how it's manufactured. So you just need to take a craft knife and finish the X off in the center. It's very easy to do. You could use scissors too if you wanted to. This die also cuts this piece to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it covers the entire front of a card. However, what I decided to do is I wanted to have a little bit of the white cardstock behind it to show through. So I'm going to trim a little bit off each side. So I'm trimming about 1/8 of an inch off each side so that a little bit of the white peeks out. Now this card you could just glue to a solid panel and write your message on the inside. But I decided to glue mine to a note card so I can write more of a message on the inside of it, but the front still does open. It's up to you how you want to put it together. Now here is our colored piece. I'm going to glue that right onto the front of our white panel. This white panel is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now I'm going to put adhesive along the outside edges of the die cut piece that we created. There are score lines to kind of guide you as to where to put the adhesive. Now I could have folded these back along the score lines before putting the adhesive down, but I'll be honest, and I completely forgot. So that's why I'm doing this after I put the adhesive down. At this point, I realized that there was a little bit of orange Copic marker there where I didn't want it. So instead of panicking, I'm just taking my colorless blender and erasing it. Basically, if you go over this enough, it will cause that color to disappear. It will look like I've kind of stained the paper there with like a gray, but that's just the moisture from the pen, and that will go away. Okay, so now that I've cleaned that up, I'm going to take my piece that's already got the adhesive on it and glue it right over the panel. Look at that. That little scene fits right inside the little window. Now, what you do with this window is totally up to you. You could just leave it unfinished. You know, maybe glue a heart onto one of the little corners so that when it's closed, it covers up all those circles so that it just kind of pops open on its own. Or there are those little circle holes to put some twine or ribbon through. And I decided to do some baker's twine. I have a ton of baker's twine, but I never seem to use it. But on this card design, it seemed to work really well. Because I wanted the recipient to open this, I didn't really tie a perfect or tight bow. I didn't even do a knot after I put the twine in. I just went straight to a bow. So you can see it's kind of loose, but I think that's a great way to encourage the recipient to open it up. You could definitely make your own diagonal window like you see here, but this die really makes it easy to do. Because it is so easy to use, I plan to use this die to create all of my son's birthday party invitations. I just thought it was fun and playful. So there you have a way to make a surprise card with some quick Copic coloring and some new products from Ellen Hudson. As always, if you're interested in the products that I use in my videos, I link them below in my YouTube description, or you can head over to my blog at jennifermcguireinc.com. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and I hope to see you again soon.
Hi, friends.
What did you say?
Hi.
Hi to who?
Mommy's friends.
Mommy's friends.
Bye. Come back.